Hey guys, we're back. Alright, what we're doing right now is a video for one of the guys over at the Kydex Pro forums. He wanted to know about blocking out a Beretta 92, I believe it was. I've already got my PX4 Storm blocked out, trigger guard, ejection port, and some of these wacky shapes here, so I can't actually do it on a similar gun. But the most similar thing we got for that is a 1911 as far as the ejection port goes. It's the most complex shape that we have, and then I'm just going to do an XDM for the ejection port there, and then possibly trigger guards. Anyway, so you take some clay here, which this is just some Kydex, I believe it's Kydex clay from Hobby Lobby. Stuff dries in the oven in about 15 minutes at 130 degrees, I think, 115. So look at the packaging again, but anyway, so you just X-Acto knife right here. Just come in and get you a big chunk. Make it malleable in your hand just by obviously kneading it. And I'm actually going to need some more than what I just cut off, so cut off a much bigger piece. Doesn't really matter because you're going to knead it up and then go from there. It's no different than art class in high school. And this clay is kind of hard at first, but once you really get in there and work with it, it becomes pretty pliable. Okay, let's say it's right about where I want it. Then you should do, especially since he's doing it on a real gun, he should apply some release agent. I mean, this clay's not going to do anything to it, but it'll at least make it easier to get off. I don't have any release agent. I think baking soda will work for that, but I'm not too sure. I'd look up that information, or you might be able to find that release agent in Hobby Lobby. Anyway, just gonna get a general shape here. And you just, oh, this stuff isn't sticking very well right now. I'm just pressing it into the port. I'm going to cut off some of this excess so I can properly deal with it. Alright. Okay, so we got that going. It's in there nice and good, or nice and formed in there anyway. And it's obviously going to be just, you know, pressed in there with your fingers. So what you need to do is you need to trim it up. So I'm going to take a nice sharp knife and just kind of do a sawing motion. At least that's worked best for me. Trying to get this on camera the best I can. Okay, so that's there. I guess I could have just pulled the knife through. That actually worked out better. And you can actually, once the stuff is kiln dried, you can sand it. Okay, so I took a little bit off, too much off there, so I'm just going to press this back in. Work on a different area really quick. Hopefully you guys can see this somewhat. It's kind of hard not to, or kind of hard to get this on camera and not cut yourself. Alright, let's see. Let's see if we can't get this a little bit better. Okay. We're almost done. It's gonna turn out pretty good here in a minute. Kind of just forming it with the knife blade here too. Okay, so it's not going to be perfectly flat to the firearm. But a little trick I learned, which I'm sure some or most of you guys over at the forums have learned, is that if you take your gun, take your holster, and you put the holster on, and your ejection port is sticking out too high, you just pull the holster off just a little bit to a different area of your pistol that's the same, heat it up, and press in there, and then it gives you the same look as the slide, like it was 100%. I think I explained that right. Okay. Perfect. Okay, now the trick is to get this out of here. Now with release agent, I'm sure it would be a lot better, but I'm going to take the tip of my knife and just pry it out. And then all this excess that you cut off, you can actually combine that back so there's no waste of material. It's not like Kydex, once you cut it off it's gone, or any non-healable material. This is obviously clay, so you can just collect it all back up, put it in a nice ball, work that ball out, and then we'll use this on the XDS, or not the XDS, but the XDM, and do the ejection port for that. And you can use this for virtually anything: trigger guard, ejection port. Hell, you could even use it for a button block if you could form it up perfectly. I don't think I'll try that, but I might, who knows. Alright, so we're gonna just get in here, and you can do it with this small blade a lot easier than you can with a knife, because I was doing it with a regular knife. Just concentrating here. Okay, now let's see if I can pry this up without losing. A little difficult. Okay, so we got that. Got a little mess up here. So I'm going to sit here and I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it right back where I had it. Take some of this excess out of here that I didn't get out, that I missed. Anyway, so we're going to move on to the XD, the XDM. So it's got a more traditional square-like or rectangle-ish ejection port. So anyway, so we'll block that out, but then you have some of your semi-autos, they have that weird dip in the design. I mean, I don't really know why they do that, but I'm not a firearms designer. So anyway, pull out your XDM. Get yourself malleable, pliable. Stick it in there. You can do any sort of way. I'm just gripping it between both my palms. Take the X-Acto knife again. Get your flat edge up against the top of the rail. That didn't really work out. I gotta do it from above. Without cutting myself here. Okay, that's cut. Now just ride your X-Acto blade right across the bottom of the slide, or the side of the slide, I should say. I cut a little too deep there. I'll put some material back, and that's the great thing about this is you can put the material back. Get some material back, ride that blade on the side. I messed that one up a little bit again, but we'll fix it real quick. Just real tiny amounts sometimes. And I can imagine that you could actually use some of this to do some sort of reverse molds too if you wanted. For, I don't know what purpose you could use that for, but you could use it for a reverse molding process. I don't know, it'll only hold up to a certain amount of temperature before it melts, but go. Clean up my top edge here. I know I don't have this in camera, but it's kind of getting up close to my face here. Just getting that beveled edge. And then top edge. And you can even use the spine of your, I mean it's not meant for it, but you can use the spine of your X-Acto knife blade to get in there. I'm actually going to come in here and relieve all that, because when I put in my sight channel bar, it's going to keep that detail out of the holster. And then you can come over here and do that little super fine detail if you want. I usually don't, you know, leave that, or I usually leave that alone. Even when I don't have something blocked out, I just leave it, but for sake of this video, we'll do something with it. Again, we're going to come in here and get that out of the way. And then what I typically do, you won't be able to do this because you're using a customer gun, but what I typically do is I'll remove it. And that one came out really easy. Just straighten that out a little bit. Just kind of leave it like that. But I take it out once it's done drying. I scrape up the inside of the blue gun, put a little glue there, glue it down, and just keep it that way, because when you have the blue tape over it, because you're still going to obviously blue tape your gun, but when you put the blue tape over it, the heat's not going to get to, whoa, I'll cut myself there, but the heat's not going to get to this clay as much, and you're also not doing your temperatures to crazy degree either, so you're staying pretty close to what this goes through, or what it can handle, I should say. So you got those two pieces over here. Probably throw them in the oven with the 1911. Okay. Let me get in here better. Get some more light to it. Alright. So that's here a Kimber Custom. I believe it's a Kimber Custom Carry 2. Using a Springfield mold, but it's just the same as the Carry. But anyway, here's the holster. The foamy clip on it with rubber washers behind there, or O-rings, so that you put the stress on the O-rings and not the... Let me print this down. Nice Kydex click. Smooth retention. Super slim 1911 holster. This is a 3-inch model. Sorry, I'm moving the gun around rather quickly. It's 3-inch. Doesn't add. Adds maybe, I don't know. Let me get my ruler out. Tell you what it adds to the end of this holster. Not really a lot. A little over 1/4 of an inch. Yeah, adds just a little over 1/4 of an inch to it. So I mean, you're looking at a 3 1/4 inch profile. Your depth doesn't really change all that much with this, because any other holster is gonna be this or deeper. Nice compact holster for a nice compact pistol. And also right here, your little, I believe this is on the 1911, I'm pretty sure that this is your takedown lever, or your push your takedown. To push this out to take it down. Maybe if I could speak. And I blocked out for that. I put a little block back here so that when I put it in the holster, the only thing that attributes to the retention is the trigger guard. And maybe slightly the slide stop / slide release, but other than that, and then your mag release is 3/4 of the way covered. You could potentially hit this, but you'd have to hit it with your finger. I don't think you're going to be able to hit it with your hip or anything like that to release it. But anyway, hopefully Roy, who I made this for, is going to be satisfied. I'm sure he will. I haven't had somebody that's gotten a holster from me that's absolutely hated it so far, so I'm going to hopefully keep up that good track record.